gentlemen, we got DiJonai Carrington once again. I mean, like, she just can't get out of her own way at this point, huh? From raking people across the head, playing victim, saying white privilege, wearing a blonde wig at that, right? Going on your phone, breaking league policy, facing no punishment, showing black privilege in this league, going at the white girl once again on August 23rd. Although it was your funeral last night, Caitlin Clark led your funeral. I enjoyed watching your funeral last night. It was pretty fun. But DiJonai Carrington once again more.
WNBA fans, a major controversy is now surrounding DiJonai Carrington after the latest collision involving Caitlin Clark. Carrington is facing intense scrutiny, and questions are being raised about what happened on the court and what could come next. With the situation getting more attention across the WNBA, fans are asking, could Carrington really face another suspension, and how will the league respond to the growing backlash? Was this simply a hard basketball play, or is there something bigger behind the controversy? Let's jump straight into today's video. NBA may have believed that the drama would end with the final bell, but what transpired following Caitlin Clark's violent altercation with DJ Carrington only raised more concerns. Why was Clark still in pain? What specifically took place in the physical sequence? And why did the subsequent response send fans into a frenzy? One detail became more difficult to overlook as the video continued to circulate. Did the league have to react at last? What then took place? If you appreciate this content, consider giving this video a like and subscribing to the channel. Believe it or not, more than 67% of viewers haven't subscribed yet. It's free and only takes a second, but it means the world to us. So, did you subscribe already? Great. Thank you so much for your support. Now back to the video.
DiJonai Carrington bookmarking this day just to get embarrassed by Caitlin Clark. The big bad wolf coming through, blowing houses down until she tried to blow down the Caitlin Clark brick house that was built by DiJonai. This lady was 3 for 11, 3 for 11, 0 for 3 from the three. A terrible performance. My goodness, tried to come out and take the show, right? Tried to create her moment. And guess what, DiJonai? Now your name is DiJonai Carrington.
Chicago Sky had just been defeated by the Indiana Fever. Another incredible performance had been given by Caitlin Clark. And that ought to have been the whole tale under normal conditions. Instead, after the game, fans started sharing footage that changed the topic of discussion from the scoreboard to something far more awkward. A series of violent altercations and visible wounds on Clark's arm had already transformed a routine rivalry game into yet another intense WNBA argument.
Play basketball. Like, why has always got to be something with the same repeated offenders, man? Like, it's always like the less talented out of the group, right? The less talented ones always focus on everything but basketball. The ones that's talented, you know what they focus on? Putting the ball in the hoop. The ones that's less focused, that's less talented, you know what they focus on? They focus on...
What transpired subsequently transformed a single basketball game into a far more extensive dispute regarding physical defense. Featuring DJ Carrington and the increasingly challenging chore of talking about Caitlin Clark without the whole internet showing up with 17 different conspiracy theories, a slow motion replay, and a whistle.
All these things that have nothing to do with basketball, DiJonai. Why is it every time you're on my screen, it's never a basketball play? Why is it always drama? Why is it always you being ghetto? Why is it you showing the characteristics of a hood rat? Like, can I please just see some class? Can I see some talent? Please, anything. Show me something. Like, you guys know that meme of the kid with the stick saying, do something? That's how I feel about these.
First and foremost, it should be noted that this was not a made-up dispute created because Sunday night basketball enthusiasts had nothing else to do. The video was authentic. The noticeable marks on Clark's arm became a topic of conversation. Additionally, the physical interactions between Clark and Carrington were a part of a game with a rich emotional past.
Bag DiJonai clout chaser Carrington. Careful what you wish for, DiJonai. Be careful what you wish for. You're the one that circled 8/23 on the calendar. You're the one who tweeted out 8/23 as if it was some date we all should pay attention to. And people paid attention and saw you. Ooh, you had a bad game. Oh, but 8/23. Fair. Caitlin Clark makes 8 3-pointers. The Indiana Fever win by 23 points. Great foresight on your end, DiJonai.
Crucial point, though, is that obvious scratches by themselves do not establish purpose. Furthermore, not all hard collisions are indicative of malevolent behavior. Basketball is a physically demanding sport. Elbows fly, arms tangle, and occasionally a player departs the court appearing to have lost a fight with an especially hostile house cat. However, it is stated that the contact was not deliberate. Because of this history, every new encounter between the two would always be scrutinized with the same level of ferocity as the Zapruder movie. Fans were therefore paying careful attention when Indiana and Chicago clashed and Carrington was involved in another physical sequence with Clark. Then came the response following the game, when footage started to circulate online and attention turned to the marks on Clark's arm. According to the story's source material, viewers pointed to scrapes, grabbing, holding, and other physical contact that they thought should have prompted more whistles, transforming the incident into a larger debate about Clark's officiating. This is the point at which the story transcends a single player, arm, or contentious possession.
You look childish and corny, then going down, shoulder bumping. Like, that's weird, bro. That is weird. And we gotta start calling things for what they is. They're weird. People that do this is weird. Weirdos. That's just the truth. And this is what BLACK privilege looks like. You able to mock somebody and get away with it, and then come down and bump somebody intentionally and get away with it. Can you imagine if Caitlyn would have did the same thing to somebody? Oh, y'all would have been having a fit. Y'all would have been like...
Whether DJ Carrington performed physically was not the only question. Like many WNBA defenders, she did. Whether the officials consistently recognized the boundary between physical basketball and unlawful touch was the true question. That is a far more awkward conversation, since every whistle becomes proof of someone's theory after fans lose faith in consistency. When one side witnesses Clark being seized, they question why the whistle doesn't sound. In 2026, the other side sees Clark participate in a physical sport, basketball. The issue for anyone thinking that this scandal would divert Clark's attention is that he reacted in the most annoying manner imaginable for an opponent. After she finished playing, she burst. Kelsey Mitchell scored 30 points, and Clark concluded Indiana's 1-1-3-9-0 victory against Chicago with 37 points, 10 assists, and a career-high 8 three-pointers. With 5 career games with at least 30 points and 10 assists, more than the all of WNBA history, Clark's performance was more than just another spectacular night. Additionally, Indiana eliminated Chicago from playoff contention with a victory.
Huffing and puffing just to come out here and get embarrassed. Like, let's just start right here, man. Let's start right here. Why is DiJonai poking the bear? Look at her. Once again, trying to create her moment. Look at her. Why you keep acting like I'm fouling you? Look, and then she's all in the ref face, spitting on him. Look at this. Somebody give her the t-shirt, man. Give her the tech. Give her the tech. Look at this. I'm not doing anything. I'm just guarding up. Okay. You want the smoke? Caitlyn gonna give it to you. You want the smoke?
Sounds. There have been 4 30-point, 10-assist games in the entirety of WNBA history. By herself, Caitlin Clark made it to 5. It sounds like someone inserted an extra number by mistake, which is the kind of figure that causes people to double-check the screen. Apparently, though, no. The calculator made it out alive. Suddenly, there was a box score next to the image of Clark leaving a very rough game with obvious marks on her arm, as if she had spent the entire evening personally disparaging Chicago's defensive tactics. It was impossible to ignore the entire conversation because of the disparity. Basketball turmoil was the most bizarre aspect of the whole event, and fans might debate whether or not every scratch was deliberate. Clark seemed to react better the more difficult the game seemed to get. An already simmering issue was further exacerbated by a particularly angry confrontation between Carrington and Clark. According to reports, Carrington appeared to indicate that Clark had flopped when he was called for contact regarding Clark. In response, Clark decided not to try to win an argument for the remainder of the evening. Rather, she persisted in her attack, hit a step-back 3 in front of Carrington, and the exchange soon became one of the most talked-about parts of the game.
DiJonai Carrington had circled on her calendar and wanted the world to see happen tonight. And how did it turn out? Caitlin Clark had 37 points, 10 assists, 8 threes, and we got this lovely reaction. But I want to point out something that happened in the game. Some of the Chicago Sky, including DiJonai Carrington, to me, were looking for a fight this game. And Caitlin, instead of talking about it in the media, just did it with her basketball skills, and this is one of the plays.
That particular instance was significant because it illustrated the contrast between the drama surrounding Clark and her typical responses to it. She can cause the conversation around her to spiral out of control. Clark, on the other hand, typically has another possession to play, which may be the main factor contributing to the explosiveness of these circumstances. Her games blend in seamlessly with the regular season schedule. She is not your typical player. Because millions of people are watching her, every altercation involving Clark is magnified, and every contentious moment instantly becomes material for repeated replay. As a result, the marks on her arm became more than just marks. They turned into symbols. They symbolized, in the eyes of Clark supporters, a broader trend of opponents utilizing undue aggression against the biggest player in the game. While authorities don't always offer protection, the strongest argument does not require a conspiracy theory at all, which makes the discussion more engaging. Referees don't need to scheme in secret in a dark room like villains in basketball to decide who gets to make free throws. Inconsistency is all that is required for controversy. Additionally, inconsistency is significantly more destructive, far more common, and far more
fouling Caitlin Clark right here. Look at this, man. So she's reaching in for the ball, fouling Caitlin Clark. We can visibly see she's going in. Caitlin has the ball all the way out here. So clearly you didn't get basketball. You got something else. If you got basketball, the ball would have, left Caitlin Clark's hand. It would have got, deflected or something. It would have went out the way. It would have been a loose ball. But no, Caitlin still has full control of her dribble. What she doesn't have control over is you all in her space, hand checking her, smacking her. And the referee sees it, calls the whistle, and you immediately, instead of reacting, this is how I know you're a victim. You get weaponized by the other victims in the black community.
Fans notice when a player receives a whistle for hand checking, while another player receives a call for comparable contact. Players become aware if contact is permitted to increase for 3 quarters before the referees abruptly decide to tighten the game. Everyone ultimately notices if the standard varies based on the crew, the matchup, or just what an official observes from one perspective. Because of this, the Clark situation is significant for reasons other than Caitlin Clark. Until someone's elbow has its own television, the WNBA has become a league where more people monitor, analyze, and are willing to freeze frame a possession. Slow motion replay and sufficient self-assurance to describe the rulebook, even though it has never been examined. The league now has a considerably lower margin for error, but that does not mean the crowd is always correct. Within minutes, any dubious whistle may be replayed from several perspectives. Any contentious possession may be slowed down and scrutinized frame by frame, and any discrepancy can be swiftly included into a much broader discussion. Thus, the dispute between DiJonai Carrington and Caitlin Clark poses an intriguing basketball query. How can one effectively defend a player such as Caitlin Clark? She can pull up from a distance that makes defenders question whether the scouting report inadvertently omitted half the basketball court, so giving her too much room is certainly risky.